very many of those though, aren't there?
There's not. Because this is all they think about.
I think we're good to go, Don, if you want to call this meeting to order.
Let's go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead and call the July 20th, 2026 Tipton Utility Service Board meeting to order. First item on the agenda are minutes from the last meeting.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes from the last meeting.
And I second them.
Okay, got a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the last meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Next we'll move to claims.
I make a motion, we pay claims number 28,113 through 28,179 for $951,556.01.
I will second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the table to approve claims as submitted. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Next, we're up to charge-offs, delinquency, Jim.
Yep, I sent out the information, in the board packet, $1,847.85. Really two big ones. One customer skipped to another state on us with a pretty healthy electric bill, a little over $500. And then another deceased customer, a little over $500. And the balance being just normal, customary, smaller ones. And we package that together and put that in front of the board for discussion if there's any, and approval.
I make a motion, we approve charge-offs as presented.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve charge-offs as submitted. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. I did notice, Jim, on the delinquency that the overall total due seems to be moving in a positive direction.
Absolutely. We cleaned up the big one that was out there hanging on the new owner of the steel parts building. We got paid in full for that and off the list. And then Emily's made some really good inroads with some of the larger delinquent accounts, and they're working it down slowly but surely. So hopefully this mild weather will be easy on the customer as well.
Do we have any formal agreements with those that are in excess of 2,000, like individuals? Or
We've had numerous agreements. A lot of them are repeat agreements that we've worked all kinds of angles like that. There are some on file, Pete. I'd have to pull them up to see for sure, but
I guess what concerns me, and it has, it's just some of the same names are on there, and it just kind of holding pat. So it's just like to see something, I guess, or a little more progress on that. But I don't know how to.
Understood. Just moving on, a couple other interesting updates to offer beyond normal. So we do have safety training coming up this Wednesday. It's on hazardous chemicals and hazardous chemical communication and how to deal with that. So I would expect to be good attendance from all parts of the utility and city. No news from our friends at IMPA this week. I do need another vote by this board. The utility has purchased a new pickup truck to replace one of our older vehicles in the fleet. And that older vehicle is a 2014 Chevy Equinox with, I want to say, 120,000 miles or more. The trade-in value by the dealer was less than $2,000 on a decently running vehicle. So I recommend that we transfer that vehicle to the city at no cost, no exchange of money. And the clerk treasurer would like us to go on record as a utility board approving that recommendation.
Do we just need to do that? Just because even though we are the same entity, we're different entities. Is that the logic?
Tammy had asked for us just in case the State Board of Accounts asks questions at some future audit, just to be free and clear about it.
I will make a motion that we transfer the 2014 Equinox to the city of Tipton.
And I'll second it.
Okay, Okay, we have a motion and a second on the table to transfer the 2014 Equinox to the city. Any other questions, comments, Pete, Mark, on that?
No.
All
Seeing
good.
none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
All right, thank you. Along the same lines, talking about utility assets, you might recall, I don't know if it was this spring or last fall, but I had presented to the board, hey, here's our asset list and here's the years we believe we need to, update and upgrade and add to the fleet. And for 2026, that means one more pickup truck that I have cornered on the market, and I'm ready to make that purchase for the water department. And beyond that, we still have one very large electrical bucket truck, one of those $250,000 items. We're awaiting delivery. And then that should suffice for what we need to do in calendar year 2026. But I'm not looking for an approval there. I'm just updating the board on where we're at with large assets. And then I'll update my list and send it out to the board. But I want to say, moving forward, we probably have $500,000 per year over the next several years, investments to make on the rolling stock. So FYI.
You'll bring those before we purchase them to the board for the approval.
I always understood that if I brought the list for the board to make those investments that showed the pieces of equipment.
The only question I had, is there a dollar amount that you need board approval for? So,
I mean, very quickly, new pickups, we're talking 40,000, and then
right, or more.
the bigger ones are $250,000, and we're very
I
using
would
this.
ask Matt that question if you don't mind.
Nope,
just to
no problem.
Make sure that we're not doing anything we shouldn't be doing.
10-4. Moving on, you might recall last meeting I mentioned going to an RDC meeting, county RDC, to get permission to access their property to drill a test well or two out west by the water plant. I did go to the RDC meeting last Wednesday, July 15th, and received a contingent approval from the RDC. They'd like to put something in writing that protects them from liability if somebody doing work on their property, and that we will cap and contain the well when we're done and leave the place like we found it. So I did talk to County Attorney Mark Renee, and he's working on that. I would expect to see something maybe as early as this week, and that should turn us loose to go look at getting a test well or two. So, and our plan is to use our friends here in town that do all our well work, Peerless Midwest. They actually did the original well study back in 2007, and they've done a comprehensive county plan and report on all the water aquifers in Tipton County. So I'd like to keep it in that family and continue on. Wastewater front. I will have a resolution in front of the utility board first meeting in August to recommend to city council to update the sewer use ordinance. I think we've gotten through all the back and forth with IDEM, and we're getting that squared away to where I can put that in front of the utility board. And then because it is an ordinance, we would need common council approval, two-step process. So the actual changes are actually pretty small in number and minor in impact, but if you're updating the ordinance, we need to go through the proper steps. So, and I work with Matt Smith of Strain Engineering on that. A few project updates. Thanks to the great efforts of board member Peter Schramm, we hope to have a variance in our hands from the Ricker Oil Company, the folks we purchased the Swifty gas station from, back in 2017, I believe it was. Within that purchase agreement, and actually there's a deed restriction prohibiting us from having auto-related facilities put on that land for like 20 years. And one of those items included a car wash. So we're asking for a variance from them. That would give the city and the potential car wash proprietor another option as far as where to put a car wash. So Pete, thanks for your efforts and connections. And we're not quite to the finish line, but we're a lot further along. So is there any questions?
Thanks a lot, Pete. That seemed to push things along nicely. So we appreciate that.
Yeah, everybody's welcome.
Yep. And then I've had on my list for a long time that we need to review and maybe look at investing in some filter bottoms at the West Water Plant out west. And we actually have a meeting with a vendor that does that kind of work. We're going to meet on site, have them review and suggest a scope and maybe give us a budget. I'm guessing it's at least $100,000 investment, but after close to 20 years of, even when the filters aren't running at full capacity, they're still being exposed to water and rust and other corrosive environments. So I think the time to do it would be now before we add a lot of customers out there, which seems to be on the horizon more so than ever before. So we'll meet with that vendor next week, and I'll probably be able to report back to the board in sometime in August on where we're at there. I wouldn't expect to make any investment on that until late this year, early of 27. Really no other project updates. The ball fields are still plugging along. It seems like it's mostly dugout work and other concrete work. We're awaiting them to connect to our water line up on Main Street. And I understand just today that they're getting close to pulling the trigger and doing that bit of work. And nothing else out west right now. We continue to have conversations with the folks.
What about Speedway out west?
Speedway
Seems
is
like they put the brakes on or something.
no, their foundations are in. Speedway out west, the building foundations are in. I think I saw some brick delivery. I think they're getting ready to
Really?
come out of the ground, Rick. Yeah. They haven't done anything as far as connecting to our water and sewer. And I thought maybe that would have been done by now just because it's kind of a deeper piece of the work, but they've got a game plan, and other than connecting to us, they're sticking to their plan. They're coming along. And I think that's all I have. If there's any questions from the board, I'd be glad to take them. No board questions, Don. We'll turn it over to public comment. Mr. Edinger?
I'm up there.
Yeah, you better get up there. We're live streaming.
Thank you, Jim. Bob Edinger, Tipton. In no particular order here. That test well you want to do, what's something like that cost?
So it's approximately 12 grand per well to do the testing, and then another $6,000 to get a report done on, because what they will do, Bob, they'll grab soil samples every 5 foot, and this thing's like 160 foot deep. So they'll do a sieve analysis of the underlying gravel, sand, whatever they find as they do the well. So we'll have close to $35,000 invested to do that.
Okay. But you wouldn't necessarily be putting a well in now.
That's correct. We're thinking 20, 25 years out when we're no longer on the utility board and running operations and they run out of water out there. Did anybody think ahead to know where we might get additional water?
I mean, that far out, I mean, is doing that test now, is that, what's that assure you in 25 years?
It would assure me that I don't need to circumvent the project in play with the county right now, because we did a test well on the county property next to our water plant. And we did find water in one place, and a couple other places we did not find water. And they're moving ahead pretty quickly. And if I need to maintain access to that water, they need to know now. And the only way they can know now is if I don't have other options.
Have a plan B for them.
I mean, do we know there'd be water there in 25 years is what I'm getting at. I'm not sure how water works underground, but where some people can drill a well somewhere and have water, not too far away not have water.
And that's exactly what we're trying to ascertain if we do additional test well or two.
That RDC meeting, I wasn't there, but I did listen to that afterwards. It was kind of interesting, you know, some of the stipulations or what the RDC wanted you to do before they would allow you to go out there, which I guess that's probably okay. I've just never seen them do that before. But somebody brought up something interesting about, you know, whatever's under your land belongs to you. So let's say you put a well there and get water. Are they gonna want something for their water?
Well, I think the next step in that scenario, Bob, would be for us to agree with the RDC to carve out a piece of ground where we can have access to that ground, sell it to the utility or the city, so that we know in the future that's our next stopping point.
Okay.
Because that same ground could come under consideration for sale to an industry. It's all woods right now,
Right.
but I think they have 7.8 acres there, and if we might need a couple acres of that, and we'd rather figure that out now.
And that would be with access that couldn't get,
It connects to our current property.
right. And that's something that couldn't get revoked or changed later unless
Ow.
the utilities would agree to it.
Yeah, if we own the land, then somebody would have to come to us and say, hey, we want to change the plans here. But
Okay. 'Cause I just found some of that discussion kind of interesting that I guess I never heard them go through before. And I thought,
it caught me off guard, to be honest.
it looked like it did.
Yeah. I've done enough research on land rights and wells because that's what we do here is can be concerned about. Well, a farmer wanted to drop a well right next to us and he owns the property. What are our rights to say no? And we really don't have them because whoever owns the ground owns the rights below. I've done enough study on the law for that to know the other liability and capping the wells and stuff. That's pretty standard stuff. So I think we got it worked out.
They just caught me by surprise on that. I thought, oh. Okay.
Yep.
Let's see. The only other thing, this has nothing to do with utilities, but since I'm up here, it was 57 years ago today, we landed on the moon and walked on it for the first time. I find that quite interesting.
By a great Purdue grad, Mr. Neil Armstrong, right?
And the reason I remember it, we had just moved to a different house in the country, and we were sitting there because all our furniture wasn't there yet, but I was watching that on TV.
Yep.
And I was 10 years old.
Old enough to remember.
So I do remember that.
Well, thanks for pointing that out. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you, Jim.
Chairman, I think that's all we have unless there's anything else.
I don't think so. Good feedback, Bob. Good conversation. So in lieu of no one having anything else, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
I'll make the motion.
Mark motion, Pete second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
All right.
Everybody.
Hey, thanks, Don. Enjoy the rest of your vacation.
So the next one,
Bye-bye.
Atlanta, lunch or you all over the place?
Mostly just Atlanta, so July's been